So I asked my dad if we could make Diane's Warhammer Gideon from the anime Seven Deadly Sins. The catch was, we only had a week to do it. This is how we pulled it off.
In order to get a usable dimension on this, we just based it off of my daughter's height, and we used a ratio for everything from there. So we figured if it was X amount tall, everything would be a percentage, so we were able to get the dimensions that way. For some reason, these PVC cutters would not cut through this. I absolutely killed myself doing this, but that's another story. The magic number for this was 6.62, so as long as I multiplied those dimensions by the scale there, everything should be right. Originally, the plan on the hammer was to use PVC and just use foam around it and kind of carve it out. So here I was making those dimensions, but ultimately wound up using scrap wood. We needed something sturdy for the base of this. That way if she slammed the hammer down or something, it just wouldn't break the end. So this wound up being perfect. As for the head, we wanted to keep the weight a little lighter, so we decided to just use the CNC to make this cutout. The cutout was based to go around the fitting. That way it would keep the light weight but still be rigid. Naturally, I couldn't find the heat gun, so this bend right here was going to be a heavy bend when we were going to originally do the foam. We wound up using a little bit of the bend when we changed the design a little bit, but this is how we started out. This was an extra solid block of ash I had laying around that was scrap from the Rubo workbench. It wound up working perfect for this.
Good enough. Next, all I have to do is those cool lines and...
Let me think. In hindsight, it would have been much easier to make a template on the CNC to cut these lines, but at this point we just needed to get it done. Then when your daughter says, "Hey, I was moving the dust hose and it got your gray beanie cap," if I was any good with a lathe, this could have been easy work. Instead, I just cut out the different scales on the CNC with intention of gluing them together. That way I could just grind them to whatever shape I needed. We built them around the PVC, then clamped them and just slid the PVC out. That way when it dried, it wouldn't glue itself to the PVC itself. After a lot of work on the sander, we dry fit everything and it was looking pretty good. This was another area we were just kind of winging it. Wasn't really sure how to make these spirals on there, so given the limited time, we just had to go for it. Since the other ones we glued together went so easy, of course this one had to be crazy, make for a whole lot of work to get it loose. But it eventually came loose and it was glued perfectly. Now it was time to fit everything together. We did one last dry fit and then glued everything up. This step was probably unnecessary here. We put some lacquer on it, that way it would kind of fill the gaps and smooth things out. But eventually we'd wind up painting it anyway. When I saw the end result of this with the finish on it, I was thinking, man, I need to make another one of these with walnut handle and some maple accessories, just to hang on the wall. But that's for another day. We used automotive primer here to try to fill some of the gaps. When gluing it up, we realized one of the lugs was out of place. With a little careful knife work, we were able to dislodge it. And put it into the correct orientation. What do you see here? This next coat of primer, it was supposed to stick really good to any surface, PVC, wood, whatever. So we used one coat of it to get it nice and thick on there, from the handle, the head, and everything, because we knew the whole thing was going to be painted kind of a goldish bronze color. Since we had put this much effort into it, I felt like it needed the actual leather crisscross handle on this, so I headed down to my sister and brother-in-law's shop, Buckle and Hide Leather, to grab some scrap leather to do this with. I had planned to record this process, but the camera was in the shop and it was 0 degrees, so I didn't want to go out and get it. So what I did is lay a base layer of leather down, then divided the circumference by 8 and cut strips in that size so that I could crisscross them. Here it was in all its glory.
Diane's Warhammer Gideon.
We've got a really cool project coming up. If you made it this far and you want to see more, like and subscribe.
Give it one more.